All right, so I'm going to show you our site that we have to manage internship applications and onboarding. I'm going to go through a couple different views. One will be what it looks like to a student, then what it looks like to a staff, and finally what it looks like to an employer. Now, you may or may not have employers in here, but just so you know, it's an option. So the first view that I'm going to take you in is the student view. So if a student logs in, they're going to be able to see the available internships. And so I'll just click on them here and you'll see that there's information, the details all about each of the internships. They'll all have this information. For any of these internships that they want to apply for, we've got an internship application. So they would fill out one internship application per internship that they would like to apply to. Now, this internship application can be customized with your specific questions. So it's really up to you what is in here, but it's really easy for students to complete. Now, once a student completes an application, they'll be able to see that in the system under My Applications. And so this is what it'll look like to them. They'll have all the details that they put in. We've got some other pieces here that are going to be used by staff, and so we'll see what those look like in a minute. And finally, when an internship is offered, it will appear down here in this tracker, and the students can either decline or accept just by dragging or dropping here. And that'll be updated on their record, and you'll know where they stand. Now I'm going to switch in as a staff person. As a staff person, I can see the internships, but I also can see the other information that I need to track as a staff person, right? So this is what you're doing with the employer, making sure that you have an agreement, your proof of insurance, anything that's in your onboarding process, and this can be all customized. And then it just gets checked off as you go through. You'll also have access to all of the applications to this internship on the forms page, so that way everything is kind of very neatly kept organized. Also, as you're managing the application process, we have this view here that has all of your internships on the left, and then all of the applications to that internship on the right. And in here, what you'll do is keep track of that particular application for that internship. Did you offer the interview? Did they complete it? Were they offered the position, etc.? You may have some other pieces of information here like start date, end date, anything like that that you need to keep track of, we can update here. And when we click on this, we see, we've got some different drop-down options. So there's different field types available for this. Also, often in an internship, you'll have a performance assessment or a site visit. So we can have those forms in here as well. And again, these can be personalized for your district. And then just any files that are associated with the student application would be here on this record as well. The next thing that I'm going to show you is what it looks like for an employer if you've got employers in the system. Okay, so this is an employer view. So the employer has their profile that has basic information on the employer themselves and is also where they can enter internship information. So we've already got some internship information here, all the details that are important. I can actually add another internship if I support another one that's different. So I might have 2 or 3 different opportunities for students, and as an employer, I can enter them all in here. We also have this text messages tab up here. What you're not seeing is the messages themselves, but I'll show you kind of at the end what your text messaging options are both for students and for employers. Okay, so as an employer, you're going to be able to see the internships that you have and the linked applications. So you might have 50 applications for this one position, and they'll all appear here. So you can go in as well, and you're going to read through the application, and you also will have access to the onboarding checklist. Now, again, if you just have staff doing this and you don't have employers doing this, also totally fine. You would be managing this instead of your employers. We also here again have our forms and our files. Now we've set up a couple of views that also might be helpful for employers so that they can keep track of students who have been offered an interview, students who have completed an interview, and students who've been offered the actual internship, and students who've accepted the internship. So just different ways to really keep them organized and going along the workflow. And we can tweak this also as necessary. Now, all the information here can also be exported out into Excel or into Google Sheets. We also do some really nice reports in Google Data Studio so that you can have that summary level data about your internships, about your employers, about your students, etc. So you can see how your program is growing and changing over the years. Now there's two additional features that we have here as well that I want to show you. The first one is going to be texting. We can set this up so that you can text with students and you can text with employers. You can text with one or the other. It doesn't have to be both, but it can be really helpful, especially when you're thinking about the communication that needs to happen in decision making, in the completion of applications, in the completion of forms. So that is where especially students are the most responsive, is via text. So you can text with students individually, or you can batch text with a group of students. Let's say you have some students who haven't yet accepted an offer, and you can say, hey, we're still waiting for you to log in and accept. You can send a batch text message to all of them. Same thing with employers. The other thing you can do too is you can just copy email addresses. So if it's better to communicate with employers via email, or students even via email, you can do that as well. And you can use all of your filters that you have. All of the fields that you are keeping track of, you can use those and filter this list down before grabbing the email or sending the text. So just making it convenient for you to use the information you have to send out differentiated text messages or emails. And the final thing that I'd like to show you is we have a way for you to manage your agreements that need multiple signatures. What we do is we pull the information in from the student record and we can push it into the actual agreement that you have. So all of these fields are getting filled out by the data that's already in the site, including the contact names, the email address of all of the signatories. Also, if you want to have some learning objectives in there, anything that you want to put in a form, you can. It will pull from the database that you have set up here so that you are not preparing individual forms. And then when this is ready and it is all complete, down here you'll hit send email. It'll send it out to each of these parties and we'll collect their signature and the date that they signed it. So it's a really nice and easy way that when you're doing something like managing internship agreements at scale, you don't have to spend a whole lot of time filling out individual forms. Now, once that form is sent, we set up trackers for you that will tell you what's missing, right? First, we'll tell you which ones are ready, which forms are complete and ready for you to send so you can send them. And then second, which one's missing the student signature. See if you've got anybody yet sent a student but not signed. So you can either copy an email address or send a text message and remind them. Same thing with those agreements that need to be signed by the employer. Again, who's missing? Same school official, who's missing it. And then finally, you'll have a tracker that has your internship agreement signed by all parties. So really just trying to take out the work of completing everything one by one. And the completed form can be downloaded. So we'll just go back to where we created it, the internship agreement, and hit the download button. And so now you have your saved copy with all signatures. Now, we also have some additional integrations that we haven't touched on yet, but that are really helpful for a bunch of different things. One, we have ways to pull in your data from your student information system so that we can create student records in here, and we can also set you up with single sign-on. So we can do that with Clever, we can do it with OneRoster, we can do it via SFTP. We also have integrations with Google where we can bring in more data from Google, or we can send data to Google Sheets, which is really helpful with reporting. And then we also have an integration with Box, which is a nice file sharing tool. Now, separate from internship, onboarding, application management, we also have a couple other models that are really helpful with the work-based learning that you're doing. One will help you track work-based learning in the classroom, allowing teachers to take attendance for activities that happen in their classroom. So click on that link to see that. We also have another model that allows students to sign up for activities that happen outside of the classroom. So you push out, all the available activities, they click through them, see what they're interested in, and they sign up for them. So both of those are also really just complementary to the internship management process. And we also have another video that'll go into the training agreements even more.